Hello and welcome to DCP Live, episode number 181. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Tonight we welcome
Hello.
crew tonight.
Yes, tonight we welcome to the show Andrea Rene from What's Good Games, right?
That's me. Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I know that we've been talking about doing this for a very long time. I'm glad that we were able to make it work.
Absolutely, it's finally happened. Yes.
I know. And originally we were supposed to be shooting last week, but then I was like, oh my gosh, GDC, I can't. And then GDC didn't happen.
Jeez, that seems like just so distant now.
Right?
I know, it seems forever ago. I think I saw a tweet where it's like, E3 was canceled like 7 days ago or something. And I was like, it feels like it's been 5 months ago.
It does.
Time moves very slowly when you feel like you're not allowed to go out and do things. Even though
I think it's that.
Like our jobs, we technically aren't going out a lot, unless it's for conferences. So just a few days of being like, no, you can't go to the coffee shop. I'm like, time is moving slow. It's weird.
Yeah, it's being cooped up, but also that so much is kind of happening on a daily basis that there's just like so many hits every day.
Yeah,
but
right?
Not in the world of Destiny, though.
Yeah.
Pretty chill out there.
So, Andrea, you're a Destiny player, right?
That is correct. I even wore my Iron Banner shirt tonight.
You're an Iron Lord tonight. Excellent.
Iron Banner.
Yes. Awesome. When did you get started with Destiny?
So I have been a big fan of Destiny since the very beginning. I remember when the game was first announced by Activision and Bungie and got into the alpha. And I very rarely play game alphas because we in the games industry, that people who do a lot of media coverage across a bunch of genres, you don't really want to play a game when it's kind of broken, but you have to quite often. But I loved it back then, played the beta, and I've been playing Destiny ever since. So it's been what, like 5+ years, 6 years now,
Awesome.
Almost, that I've been playing Destiny. Yeah, so I love it. Obsessed even.
Do you play all three classes?
So I've definitely dabbled in all three. In first Destiny, I played more of a balance between the three, but I mean, Hunter's my main. And
Excellent.
Dude, Hunters for life. It's all about the hops, man.
Yes.
Got a lot of triple jump. I did, when Destiny 2 launched, I started a little bit with Titan because I really wanted to have some more power because, Hunter melees are just so weak in PvP. But, I just can't get over the jump. The jump is really what did it for me.
It's the movement, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fran over here being a warlock. Jesus, man.
No. First of all, I do still defend warlocks having had 3
Unbelievable.
Destiny. That's where that comes from. But I'm a hunter. Everyone here's a hunter. That's crazy.
Yep.
It's a full hunter show.
We're very pro hunter podcast, and sometimes we catch some heat for that. Sometimes.
What?
Oh,
Yeah.
sometimes.
You're jealous of the capes, let's be honest.
Yeah, they're just jealous of everything.
Especially
hunter.
warlock.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those warlocks are super jealous.
The new Warlock Eververse is pretty pimping. It's pretty pimping.
That's true. I mean, some of the Warlock
someone that
gear
bought
has
it.
looked super cool over the years of Destiny. I've been mad jealous of some of the Warlock gear, but it just always comes back down to movement. I just really love the subclasses of the Hunter. I mean, it took a while for us to get there. We were pretty underpowered for a long time, but now I think we're in a good spot.
It's always gone through strange phases throughout Destiny's history of how like hunters have been balanced. It's like, oh, you can do way too much with Blade Dancer. We have to dial it all back, then get nerfed, and then
The one time where we felt really cool. I mean, I kind of miss Blade Dancer. I wish
Same.
it was back.
Yeah.
Like, what is the Night Stalker? Do you guys play Night Stalker ever?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah?
So-
Tell me about it.
Really? You're just always out there with what, Arcstrider, Andrea, or something?
No, so my main it has been I've been doing Gunslinger a lot lately, but I really still like Blades. Blade Barrage is just super fun. And then if I'm not doing that, I go what do I well no, I guess I play Night Stalker every once in a while, but yeah, it's mostly just solar. I'm mostly
Yeah, because you're mostly PvE, right?
Yeah. I only dabble in PvP, mostly to get like daily or weekly Crucible bounties. Or if Mayhem is in the rotation. I didn't used to like playing Mayhem, but now I've come around and just like really love it. And
You doing Blade Barrage?
Blade
Barrage.
I mean,
in Mayhem.
Obviously, I'm telling you that arrows in Mayhem are fun to just like troll people with because I hate it when I get stuck in people's super.
Yep. Yeah. So with have you played Trials then? Did you play Trials?
Yeah. So I haven't played the new Trials. So we were talking a little bit about this, in the chat before we started recording, and I did Trials pretty extensively in original Destiny.
Okay.
But I was not sad to see it go for Destiny 2. I was like, cool. Because Trials, as you guys know, it's tough and you have to practice a lot and you have to know the maps. You have to be with a fire team that's also willing to practice a lot. And I just never felt like the rewards were worth that time investment for me for how much stress and frustration it caused me. And so I just was not sad to see it go. And when they said they were bringing it back, I was like, but why?
That's funny. Yeah, I know that opinion is not like uncommon throughout the community because there's definitely a lot of people who are like, yeah, but Trials ends up kind of being, remember at the end of D1's lifespan, Stickies and Icebreaker, like.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like you have to cheese it every time if you want to get a win, and like the strats are the same, and it just takes the kind of improvisation that you get from PvP out of it because you kind of have to do everything very methodically.
Sure.
It kind of reminds me of watching professional Gears of War teams that play in esports and how they just hunker down and wait for their sniping moment, but they're the most boring matches to watch because of that. I'm like, this isn't fun. Why do you guys want to play if you just hide and snipe the whole time?
That's funny.
That's my personal opinion.
No, for sure. I mean, that does happen, obviously, in Trials. There's some times where it can be explosive, and you have two aggressive teams that are going at it, and the rounds are going super quick.
You mean this week, Tefty?
This week was straight up both. It was there was some super passive teams that were like, nope, you have to. We got to see you first before we do anything, man. And then there was other teams that were just like, we're shotguns. I'm
running at you, and maybe we trade, but I'm going forward, and I'm gonna press the button. We'll see what happens.
Keep it up.
Yeah, exactly. So you're mixed about it then with Trials coming back.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna jump in just to check it out and see what it's all about. But yeah, for me, like I said, PvP is not my primary focus when I play Destiny. I enjoy PvP now because I've played so much of it that I feel like I have a grasp on how to be successful. And I think that's the case whenever you talk about a competitive multiplayer. No matter what the game is, you have to just practice to get good, right? But playing with my clan is super fun, and when we get into a big group chat and we're rolling as a full team, and it's changed my opinion on FPS PvP for sure, playing in Crucible. And I really like the gear that Shaxx has. So in order for me to get better gear and better rolls, I have to keep playing.
Are you talking about weapons like Mountaintop and Recluse and stuff like that?
No, I'm actually just talking about armor.
Visual armor. Okay, yeah.
Visually, I like the armor set for Hunter, but also most of the stats I prefer on the Crucible set. So, I mean, the weapons for me, I haven't yet found my weapon that I really love because I feel like I'm constantly chasing that light level like everybody is, and so I never can. Because of the way they changed the infusion system, I mean, it's less egregious now than it was, even in the last season, and I feel like they're still working out the formula to figure out what's the easiest way to let people use the gear and the guns that they become attached to this deep into the launch of the game, because Destiny 2 has been out for a while now. So the people that are still active, are you giving me
power?
A Dr. Evil finger?
Power for now. Fran's trademarked
power
per hour.
You guys have a drinking game you do whenever Fran brings this up?
Everybody would be hammered.
How have we not already talked about that? That's crazy. Yeah.
I think Twitch might ban us.
Yeah. True.
That might have been the show that Andrew was on where we first did our show, Fireteam Chat, was the Power Per Hour episode. But that was the big, right after Forsaken. And
that was just when it launched, right? When the raid had just gone live.
Yes, and it was about how much time you had to get ready. And I do think it's worth noting, Andrew, if you don't know, right, you might explain, like, you play a lot of different games. You often have to play games before they're even out, right? And that's where, when you say you're chasing light, why it's a challenge, right? Part of it.
Yeah,
Running a business and
right. And like, so doing a weekly show that isn't Destiny focused, I have to have something new that I'm bringing to the table every week to talk about with our audience, with my co-host, because my co-host would probably I would have driven them insane by this time if I only ever talked about Destiny. And there was a period of my life where I was talking about Destiny on What's Good Games a lot. And I think people were like, "Oh, we get it. You like to play Destiny. That's cool. Do you play anything else?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." So I still play a consistent amount, but I think like most of us out there, we go through cycles and waves. And as you guys are well aware, some of the seasons are better than others.
Yeah. How do you feel about the seasonal model right now?
I feel like it's better than what it was, but I don't think it's quite where it needs to be. I think that there's a lot of learning that they could do about looking at what people want. I think like the hard part for Bungie is balancing what they want to do creatively with what their hardcore fans want, but also what their casual fans need to get back into the game. And because I've had a lot of friends, and I'm sure you guys have too, over the years that have played Destiny with me that don't play anymore because they're like, "Meh, I'm over it." And I'm like, "But it's still so good. In fact, it's the best it's ever been. Come back."
I think it's intimidating for people to get in still.
Yeah.
If they want to even get, they're like, I don't
especially for a brand new player, free to play. I mean, there's like they just dump you in there. You're like, all right, go get it.
Just head to your Seraph Tower and upgrade your bunker, and you'll be good to go.
Go get that Power Guardian.
I mean, did you get a Prime, a Legendary, or did you get a Cryptic Rainbow Gram?
And then they get killed by like Thorn, and they're like, how do I get that gun?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Oh my gosh. I still don't have that gun.
No Thorn?
No, so I was going through, I was online with some members of the What's Good Guardians. That's our WGG clan. With Renjamin and Solid Snake Ocelot, who are like my ride or dies in Destiny. And I was going through because I love the new quest menu that they rolled out.
Yeah,
and
that's really nice.
Oh, this is so much cleaner now. But then it reminded me just how many like legacy and old quests I never finished. And I was like, ooh, this is bad.
I feel like that's for my Warlock. That list just keeps on piling up. Just all these quests in the Warlock.
On this topic of seasons, and I think, Andrea, maybe, I don't know if you've kept up with any Division 2, but it applies to everybody here, Teft and Watts, but like, how do you think it's comparing to, like, have you seen what Division 2 has been doing with the new season and manhunts?
I'm all the way in on the new expansion and the new season for the Division 2. It's interesting comparing them side by side because I think there's a lot of similarities, but there's also, like some substantial differences. I think the gear system in the Division 2 is not nearly as robust as the gear system in Destiny. And I feel like the gear in the Division 2 just lacks a lot of personality. Whereas the gear in Destiny, I think, has an abundance of personality. And that's what makes it fun to chase. Like, to me, none of the gear in the Division 2 is like, oh, I got to chase that specific gun or that specific set of boots, right? In Destiny, that 100% exists. And
none of it feels like game changers?
I think... You mean like in the differences between them?
Yeah, like in Destiny, if you get a particular exotic, it's like, oh my god, this is a game changer. I'm gonna define my loadout around this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you can really build, create and design a build for your Guardian off of a single piece of gear in Destiny because the stats work together that way. And it has a meaningful impact in very specific situations. And so, you can build this really cool set to do this particular type of activity. And I mean, I think the Division 2 is getting there, but it's just a little convoluted still. And it's really difficult to understand. And the way that they've kind of segmented off the stuff that's pre-level 30 and post-level 30 still was kind of like, I get that they have to do that to try to bring new players in, but it just doesn't feel like a cohesive enough world. They have way more activities to do. You're not running the same stuff over and over and over and over again.
Do you think the lack of like space magic plays a big part of that with Division? Yeah, I'm dead serious about that because Destiny, really it's like explosions and you're throwing these things out of your hand. It's like, whoa, where did that come from? And then Division, it's like this guy takes 9,000 bullets.
Yeah. I mean, the space magic is a giant part of why I love Destiny. I've been a sci-fi fan my entire life, and I was really excited. Like I said, back in the early days when this game was first revealed, and then when it came out, has always been playing Destiny. And I think what they obviously excel at is that they have this really cool set of lore that goes much deeper than most casual players understand. And I think it's neat that how the community comes together to chase specific quests or to unlock secrets together. And I really don't see that a lot in online game communities. I mean, there's a lot of really robust communities online, but there's just something really special about the Destiny community and its commitment to the lore of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, completely agree. It's very interesting. It's also strange because like the story in Destiny is very, I don't want to say the wrong term, but like
Careful now.
vapid.
Life's gonna show up here.
Well, you know, like the actual story,
Well,
except for recent stuff. Recent stuff has been a lot better, but like historically, the stories in Destiny have been kind of all right. Well, let's get to the end game here. But the lore has just been rich, super rich.
It flipped so much from the story being in, you know, screen text to seeing just even that little cutscene of, you know, Osiris accusing Rasputin of being a thug. And you're like, it's a pretty short cutscene, but it kind of amped you up, like, what's happening. And we never had that before. It was like you said, you'd finish the Red War and then that was it for a while. And now we get this peppered throughout versus, you know, somebody telling you a new gun drop was like, well, this is what's going on, you know?
Yeah.
So I do like where they're going with it, even though you pretty much just see the cutscene and then you go do like public events.
Yeah. Like,
I really want them to do a full single player. Well, not even single player. It could be PvE, like campaign, like a full, like 20, 30 hour campaign that's just
like Doom
actual
Eternal
missions, like Halo style.
Oh yeah, Halo.
Like,
that would be
like people expected originally.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you don't have to go back and forth from the tower and pick up bounties and do all the busy work that they've interspersed with the campaign so far in Destiny's history. I'm like, can you just embrace your Halo roots just a little bit? Just a little bit.
How do you do that though? How do you keep the game alive as this this online game? I bring this up because I think the idea would work as a killer expansion, spin-off, or whatever, like a full-on, like just high-polished
Destiny the story
single-player campaign. Yeah, like something like call it a Last of Us, you know, or I mean, Doom is probably a good model, but does Doom Eternal have any multi? No.
Yeah, it does.
It does. It does. Okay.
That's a battle
All I see
mode.
is people talking about.
Yeah.
Which is funny since Doom is founded on that. But I guess my point is where Destiny's gone. How would you, if you're not going back to the tower and sharing, you know,
so this is how I envision it, Fran. So I think the way, in order for them to make it work with how different everybody's builds are and how your gear is, it would have to be standalone, but it would be really cool if you could aesthetically bring your Guardian in that you've already created, right? Or if you choose to make a new one, you can choose to make a new one. But if you want to keep your Guardian, you are like, okay, this is the Guardian I'm bringing in, and this is how they're going to look. Not too dissimilar to how Mass Effect allowed you to bring your Shepherd game to game, right? And then, you know, all of the gear and everything is isolated just to the campaign. And then maybe they give you, I don't know, like experience points, or they give you some kind of currency that you can bring back into the tower, into the regular game to spend afterwards. I think that that's a relatively, you know, easy way to integrate it, but also allow people to still feel attached to their Guardian, because obviously we all have that attachment to our player character. So
So I want to add to it because I actually feel like D1 nailed a lot of that, except for the actual story. Like the storytelling and the core of the story just was not it. But the pacing that they had, like, you know, it started out on Earth and you had to go to this mission and said what level for this mission. And then once you've done all that and you complete the story, they unlock dailies, heroic dailies, or your daily missions and all that you can get loot from. And I actually thought that worked really well. And then they just kind of moved away from that in D2. It was like once you did the Red War campaign, it was like, that's done. You're not going back to that. And then until like a year later when they introduced story missions again that were higher level. So it's kind of strange how, like, in D1, I felt like they had that. They had all the elements except for the fact that they had to reboot the campaign story completely and pull pieces, you know, for D1.
Yeah, I was also really disappointed. Like, I'm sure a lot of people were out there that you couldn't replay missions right away, and it took quite a long time for Bungie to add that in. especially since like the cutscenes in Destiny 2 are so beautiful, and like I love the animation, and the art team at Bungie is one of the best. And I was just so bummed. I was like, why can't I just go back and like play all those missions again? Like, what's the harm in that? But you can now,
True.
obviously, but
Yeah. Well, even in D1, you could actually highlight the missions on the map. You know, you could specifically go back to that specific mission and do all the stuff if you wanted. And then they moved away from that. And I think that's part of the confusion when a new player jumps into the game and they're just like thrusted into the world of Destiny 2 with no frame of what to do. Like these, in fact, are all the planets available once you make a new character?
it's a good question.
It's
Don't
funny,
know.
I keep meaning.
So if you make a new character, they give you a million quests because it's like, go unlock Gambit. Here's Crucible. Go get a team, do a raid. Go do this thing. And I'm like, dear, okay. Go do a raid. Get a team. Okay. But pretty much everything is open to you after you do the first mission, which is like the D1 mission. Yeah. Which kind of introduces you to being revived as a guardian, and then you can kind of go everywhere. So the way that they did it, instead of taking you planet by planet via a story, they give you a quest of like, go talk to Anna, for example, and you do a little like quest for her on the planet to be introduced to the planet and what's there and who
Like
she
a patrol
is.
or something?
It's some stuff like that, yeah. And then they give you like a ship or a sparrow or something at the end of the quest.
Fascinating.
Specific from that planet.
Yeah. It's funny because I think they were onto the base principle was good, which is like people, if you just want to get in and strike with somebody and make it quick, like in concept, I love that idea of like, it's free, hop in, go play, trials, whatever, right? Just hop in and play. Why do you have to play like a 10-hour story and a tutorial just to do it? Some people don't want to do that. I actually like that they had that piece. But then the problem is it's so convoluted. There's no other guidance, though. Once you're in, there's just nothing. You're like, I have no idea.
Once you're in, there's a checklist of quests to go through to be introduced to the various activities and planets.
Yeah.
Well,
But
the problem is, though, it comes back to what we're talking about with the story in the game and how like there's this amazing, incredible lore in Destiny. And for a brand new player, you just don't get exposed to that at all.
True.
You know?
And you miss some of it now, you know?
I mean, you can miss a lot of it. I mean, even as somebody like me who's been playing Destiny since the very beginning, there's a ton of lore that I've missed because if you don't like investigate everything in the world, you'll miss pieces. If you don't look in the menu when you pick up new things, you'll miss it. You know, and I'm glad that they've made it easier now to access the lore than in the early days of Destiny.
Right.
You know, where you had to go to the website. I still agree with you, you know, that it's still feels like it's inaccessible even for, you know, consistent players. So I hope that Bungie figures out a better way to incorporate this amazing writing that their team has built into the world.
Yeah. And Bungie has said overall, they're like, we realize like this needs work. And there were already some like minor improvements even recently, right? And
the seasonal storytelling is a lot better.
Yeah.
Like the whole introduction with Saint 14, I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, the story missions they did with Saint, I think were probably some of my favorite story missions that we had. I think their writing and the character was just so fun to be around. And it was really emotional when you had to go and save Saint. That was like a really emotional moment. So I think they did that really well.
So I think that's one of those things where like a new player, they're like, cool, let's save Saint 14, whatever.
Yeah.
And for a D1 veteran, it's like,
We're like, oh my God.
What? This is, I don't know about that one. Wait, he's looking up to me? What? I looked up to him.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had to keep us on the pedestal.
Right. Yeah. It's fascinating. So let's bring it back to loot real quick. What's your favorite exotic?
Oh, I wasn't prepared to have to choose between
On the
my
spot.
I couldn't name my favorite.
Man.
Plan C.
When I think about the exotic that I've used the most, I mean, Shards of Galanor is one of my faves.
Okay.
For gear, for
Yeah.
stuff you wear. Gun wise, God, they've introduced a couple new ones, but I don't know. Whisper, is that a cop out?
No, Whisper. It goes all the way back to D1. It's a great gun.
I
It's a
really love that
sentimental
gun. I mean, I do really like Thunderlord. It's super fun to use.
Oh yeah, Thunderlord's nice.
I just never get machine gun drops like ever. I think I have 2 or 3 total. from all of my time with Destiny. And so like the running joke in my clan is that I have the worst RNGesus luck in our entire group because I just never get the drops. Like forever, just don't get anything.
Do you not have
Um,
anarchy?
I honestly don't even know. I haven't pulled from my collections in a long time. I haven't like gone through what all my exotics are. I always like forget which exotics I have because I stopped using them. Because like again, you know, the light level chase and having to infuse stuff that you like just becomes really tedious and exhausting. Having to be like, okay, well, I guess I have to go get more upgrade modules and I have to go grind to get these things over here. And I just want to be able to. I just want to be able to use the stuff that I like to use, and it's frustrating. But I do. You know, I think that it's improving, particularly when it comes to armor. I'm glad that they've introduced the ornament system. You know, that was a big gripe for me for a long time with Destiny, this idea that, you know, you grind and grind and grind to get these really cool gear sets for these special events. And then the next event comes along and it makes that cool set that you grinded so hard for obsolete. And then you're like, well, but I worked all season or all event to get that thing. And then I only had a little bit of time left by the time I earned it to use it. And now the light level increases made it impossible to upgrade every single piece again.
Yeah, the ornament system is really nice. I like what they did with that. Yeah, I wish it was a little more encompassing. Like so, because sometimes it's segmented on what you can equip on what particular pieces of gear. Sometimes I wish I could have like all of the hunter armor available to me to that end. But like this is way better than what it was pre-ornament system.
Yeah, I do also wish they had an apply all button, both for ornament
I was thinking about that.
Oh, that'd be really nice.
Should I bring it up?
It can't be that hard, right? Bungie, what do we have to do to request this, please?
That'd be like having a loadout. You know, you're asking
or a completely different shader system.
That's right.
Dude,
or completely
don't get
different.
started on the shaders. I made a joke about it when I tweeted about the show tonight because my audience knows that I happen to go on shader rants on the regular, but I promised I wouldn't do it tonight.
No, it's fine. Every now and then I go on one too. I get like aggressively annoyed that I have to delete like green and blue level shaders from my postmaster.
Yeah.
Like 5 at a time. I'm like, come on. I don't want to go to Rahul to delete 5 at a time. Screw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, sorry, Fran. Didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I was just gonna say, at least that's what I was getting at before. They've made some very minor quality of life improvements. We know they must be thinking about and working on this stuff. Like, I really like how with bounties now, right? That they're segmented. You can it still takes some learning, but it's way better. It used to just like pile into a big tab, but meaning like why hasn't shaders got that treatment, for example?
Yeah.
Yeah, just to me, I really loved what they did with being able to itemize shaders instead of, you know, like in original Destiny was just like, oh, you blanket shade the whole character and now you can, you know, handcraft individual pieces. But I just don't understand why they had to make it this consumable system. It just feels so punishing for the sake of being punishing, especially when they've tied the chase for shaders to RNG. So it's like, even if you go and grind like the raid to get the raid shader, like, because oh my God, do I love Callus's shader so much. It's my favorite. But like, how am I gonna grind the raid? I have to like get my raid group together just to like go and get more shader drops. Like it's kind of unfair.
Yeah.
You know, and then you don't even know how many you're gonna get as drops. And then once you've unlocked it and then you change it out or you change your gear and then change it back, you have to pay for it again. Ugh, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, at least they're a lot cheaper now. It's just like finding stuff that like just to delete stuff that you don't want. That's the first offense. Like why?
That's
like,
my biggest thing. I have to manage
fun.
it all the time. Like in the postmaster, I'm like, come on.
It's crazy how many shaders pile up. So yeah, hopefully that's on their list. I mean, you got to imagine. I say this a lot, but I think they've been pretty busy working on whatever's next, you know, for a while. And we're seeing, you know, little test beds like with the obelisk and now the towers of like.
You talking about the next expansion?
I don't know. Whatever's next. I'm talking next. You know, I was talking.
I'll put it 3. Just say it.
Yeah, I'll put it in 2021 terms. I often say I think Destiny next. We don't know if it'd be called 3, but I always think it'll come out then. But I feel like they've been testing a lot, and this year they've tested a lot. And so things, in other words, like the shader system's probably like, look, we've got a solution. You're not going to see it for a while because like there's other stuff we need to work on, you know, in this season of content. So
what's your prediction then on Destiny 3? When do you think that's going to happen?
I like that we keep going over. This is good because I feel like for a while we were doing it monthly. Now we do it quarterly as we get deeper in. But I still stand by. I feel like I've been saying it actually since day one I got on the show, which is good. We would see 2 more years of content. So now that brings us to in September, October of 2020. We'll see another big release. Plus they'll bring cross-platform with next gen in there, and there will be some new improvements.
You think it's going to happen?
That'd be
in
great.
Destiny 2?
Yes. Some more free-to-play improvements. Yeah, Destiny 2, Forsaken level type drop, hopefully. So it'll still hopefully be beefy, but it'll still be Destiny 2. And they'll probably phase out, who knows? Maybe they'll blow up.
Oh, wait, you're talking about
brand
Destiny 2 on PS5, Xbox Series X?
Yes.
And then
sorry.
crossplay.
That's
I
what I
actually
meant.
think that's a really likely scenario because part of me would love to see Destiny 3 launch with the new consoles, but it does make more sense for them to wait to get out of that early adopter period and still maintain cross-gen with the current architecture, and then let the new systems kind of work out some of their launch kinks, and then bring the goods for 2021 when the systems feel like they're a little bit more stable and the player base is a little bit more robust.
Yeah. I mean, what do you guys think? That's what I think. So 2021 will be the Destiny next. And
yeah, Andrea, what do you think? What's your prediction on Destiny 3?
Yeah, no, I agree with what Fran said. I think, the kind of X factor here is what's going to happen with cloud streaming, knowing that Bungie had a partnership with Stadia when Stadia launched, and that they were one of the, kind of biggest titles to roll out with Stadia. And obviously we haven't really heard much from Stadia in the interim because they're, working on a bunch of their exclusives. But I would like to see kind of where Bungie's going to go in a post-Activision world in this next generation of consoles and cloud streaming. If they're going to partner up with somebody like Stadia, or maybe they'll partner up with Xbox and do something with xCloud because they had that PlayStation exclusivity for so long. So it's like,
do you think they could flip?
Maybe it's like, they're probably going to go where the money is.
That's
and
true, yeah.
Obviously the partnership with PlayStation was incredibly beneficial for
Right.
Destiny and Destiny 2 in a variety of ways. And so I don't know, if they want to just continue. They're like, if it ain't broke, let's just keep rolling with Sony. But, that's why I thought the partnership with Stadia was particularly interesting, especially in a persistent online world like Destiny, to be like, makes you think. What could be in the future for them? And would they do something exclusive with Stadia specifically?
Okay, that's interesting for sure. And
Jeez.
Stadia is a big question mark for me because I'm like,
Brian, are you like, please no, just don't?
It's still too early to say on that. I mean, yeah.
But
I just
also
think that
Stadia, like the press they've had, where they're like, well, developers, you better bring your games to us. We've made the platform. No, get on it.
Who here has not had a terrible download and install situation with a Destiny update, right? Like,
Sure.
They've been awful. That to me, like, as many problems as I had with Stadia, and I was very vocal about all of the issues I had with that platform, the one piece of magical tech that Stadia sold me on the promise of what Stadia could become was when I put my Stadia code in that Google provided me for Destiny 2, and it unlocked all of the content. I turned the controller on, and boom, everything was
Just
there.
automatically worked.
Every piece of content was just there. My Guardian was there. Everything was just there. I didn't have to wait like even a minute. And I was like, that's when I was like, okay, I get it. But then
did the service work?
Nobody's in the Crucible lobby, and I was waiting for like 20 minutes to get connected to a match. And I was like, okay, the magic's over.
The population is double digits right now. Did the actual technology for you, did it actually work? Was it stable?
It did. Yeah, so the thing that didn't work for me in the beginning was obviously PvP was non-existent. You could not matchmake into the Crucible to save your life.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is now, in fairness. I haven't logged in several months. The last time I logged in was launch window, so, November. So I don't know now. But the other thing that I had problems with initially at launch was I was having some frame rate issues because it has that like Netflix effect is kind of what I call it, where it feels like it's a little grainy or a little slow, and then it like pops in, but you have to wait for that moment to happen. Where
resolution
like,
switching.
Yeah, exactly. When you'll like boot up a streaming service, whether it's Disney Plus, whatever you watch, and it's like, okay, you can tell that it's not the buffering is still happening, but then once you're in, it looks pretty good for the most part.
Interesting. Okay, so So you're thinking like 2021, right?
Yeah.
For Destiny
Yeah,
3?
for me, I think the next big thing, if Destiny 3 is indeed the next thing, will probably be 2021.
How possible do you think it is that there is no Destiny 3 and they just keep on building on Destiny 2?
Oh God, that would make me so sad. But I mean,
Same.
it's possible. You know, it's interesting looking at long-term plans for shared worlds. I mean, you can look at a game like Warframe and what they've done, and you can even look at a game like, I mean, World of Warcraft, for lack of a better example, and kind of look at like how they've built on the original world and expanded upon it, but they haven't really created something completely new. And so while I don't want Bungie to have to like start from square one, at the same time, I'm like, man, we have really milked these locations, these characters, these enemies. I mean, we need
Weapon
something fresh.
stats and perks and all that.
Right? I mean, they've introduced so many like cookie crumbs in the lore of like where we could go with Destiny 3 that I'm like, just go there, just do it. Make it be really cool.
My biggest thing is I want to go outside of our solar system. Like I want to visit other worlds, legit other worlds. And like we saw Unknown Space from Trials of the Nine, and I was like, this is awesome, Unknown Space, it's happening. And then that was it. It's like, I want to go beyond, you know, where the elixir come from.
Exactly.
Like, I want to go there.
I'm with you. I think that there's a lot of they can do with even some of the existing locations. Like I think that there's more to be done on Mercury that they haven't done. I think there's more to be done in the Dreaming City that they haven't done. You know, like there's like
It'd be cool to see Venus come back.
I mean, I enjoyed Venus. I still think Io and Venus are pretty similar.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But you know,
yeah.
but yeah, I wouldn't mind going back to Venus. But there's just, I would hope that you know they could. I'm with you. Like there's too much out in space for them to not have options to do new stuff.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of space magic out there. We need it. We need to see that space magic.
Yeah.
So we should definitely talk about Iron Banner and the bow.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys get the bow? Did you play Iron Banner?
I have the bow. So I wasn't able to play because of Tobias. But I played last night, and I was able to get the bow in like an hour and a half. I want to say.
Oh, nice.
I think it was an hour and a half. Yeah. So I'm still doing the quest because I'm on the bow part, like get kills with bow part. So I just got the bow and then I went to bed. So I haven't
Once
used
you got the bow,
it
you're
yet.
like, well, I guess I'm done here.
How
Well, at that
often
point,
does that?
it was time to go to sleep.
Doesn't that always
There's
happen?
still the
though,
quest
Watts?
to do.
How many
No,
weapons
I
have you
wanna
got,
keep-
and you're like, I just got to go to bed, but I got it.
Well, I wanted to keep
I run
playing
into
because
it
I
a lot.
wanted to use the bow and I wanted to finish the quest because I don't think it's really going to take very long. I mean, I don't know what's after bow kills, but I don't assume there's that much
That's it, I
left
think.
to go.
Isn't it?
After bow kills?
Yeah.
And then you can turn in your stuff and get armor?
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I got
then-
the bow. Like, it gave me the bow, and then I got bow kills. It was like 10.
Yeah, so it probably would take me 3 hours at the most to do it, which is not bad. And I wanted to try the bow, so hopefully tonight I'll probably get to use it.
Oh, you didn't even try it yet?
Haven't tried it. It was super late. I got on when I could when Tobias was sleeping, played for like an hour and a half. And
Yeah,
then
you have a good excuse. You've had like your family member Tobias, your cat, but like had to deal with a bunch of stuff. I have been playing other stuff. I didn't know I was on the show until recently, and I plan to do it this weekend. And so I haven't touched it. Did you get it, Teft?
It's okay. I also don't have it, friend. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're thin on the bow experience.
I got
You
the
didn't
bow.
get it, Teft?
Guess
Oh,
what?
you did.
It's a bow.
I've actually on the here interwebs, I've heard a lot of different. Some people were like, "Yeah, it's bad, doesn't do anything," and some are like, "This bow is amazing and it's great and it's the best."
It's not.
So it's
They're wrong.
Yeah, I heard. Here are the two things I heard. So tell me this, Teft. One was that doing the bow in Iron Banner, the quest, was annoying because of the meta, and we run into again where they make us do something against the meta that is really annoying because it doesn't match the quest. And then the second part was that the bow felt like super like smooth and no one could explain it.
Yeah, it's definitely just the bow. Like straight up. I think it had that new factor. First off, visually, it's a beautiful looking bow.
The new bow smell.
It's got that new bow smell. It's got the new string. They just bowed it up. Whatever you call that. It's got the insignia of the Iron Wolf, which is really nice looking. So visually,
it's cool looking.
10 out of 10. It's a great looking bow. But it's just a bow. And in PvP, bows are they're more novelty. Like some people try to go hard with it and be
That's
like,
the Monarch, right?
yeah, Lemon Arc is definitely like the best. At least I think, anyways, the best when it comes to straight up bow usage out there.
If you're gonna bow,
If you're gonna bow,
That's the
you
one
might
to
as well
do it
use
with.
that exotic because it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to use this bow, unless of course you want to have like a different exotic.
so in PvE, even like, do you see like it being fun to use? No, not just the bow, right? You could use any.
It,
You know what I
in
mean?
my
If you like take
opinion,
PvP out of the equation.
yeah, in my opinion, it's fallen under the pursuit category as opposed to the pinnacle category. You know how we've had these pinnacle weapons and they've been like basically exotic tier legendaries, and then they moved away from that because they were too powerful. Well, unfortunately, the bow has fallen into the same category. It's like it's an item that you collect for your collections.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're a big time bow enthusiast and you don't care about whatever type of performance you could be doing in PvE or PvP, then yeah, it's fun, cool. You get to, it's a new Iron Lord bow, but it's nothing. There's nothing particularly unique aside from its visuals. Yeah,
Well, that's a bummer.
it's not like Hush. Hush has like a perk where it's like, oh,
This
interesting.
is true. I still didn't get Hush either because Gambit.
Yeah,
But I've heard a lot of good things about Hush.
Yeah, I abandoned that quest. I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to play enough Gambit to get this. Goodbye, dumped.
Yeah. We've all run. into
again,
that.
it's a really nice looking bow.
I know. I don't doubt it. I actually very much enjoy using bows, not particularly in PvP, but
Sure.
I just like I can't commit to that much grinding to get a specific weapon unless it's an activity that I'm really excited about or really like doing. And I don't know. Even
Not
with the
excited
change-
about Iron Banner?
No, for the new bow, yes, I'm down. I'm going back to get the bow, of course, but yeah.
Are you-
How did you find the quest for people who have, even if you've just done a little bit of the quest, like how did you find the quest this time around?
Well, for me, I mean, it was pretty easy. It was pretty straightforward. Yeah, there was a few. I mean, like with Iron Banner, it's always kind of hit or miss when it comes to connections. And if you're in a full fire team too, sometimes all your shots are registering. Sometimes it's like, well, I can't do anything this round. Also, they had a strange bug going on where sometimes your quest just wouldn't progress. Like you'd get.
That was so weird. I heard about it, yeah, because I
Really?
didn't experience that at all.
Another Iron Banner quest with a progress bug. What's going on? Remember this happened before.
a surprise phase.
With,
Oh my god.
Was it the rocket quest we ran into this, right?
There was this
Where-
weird one where it was like you have to get kills with a rocket, but actually it was a grenade launcher, but actually it was an SMG. It was
Yeah.
that
was
weird.
very,
I
like-
talked
That's
about
right.
it, and I was like, "What
So
the?
We cut and paste too many lines of code at that point. I'm like,
Wow.
something happened.
That's a
in the-
lot."
Yeah, so I mean, if you don't run into any of those issues, it's not too bad. Like the bow kills were the most annoying for me because I had to actually get kills with the bow, which it was only 10. But in that particular
Against
situation,
Revoker and Hardlight.
yeah, exactly. Like it's better for you to be a very passive player that you're picking off kills, so your teammate is like,
bodies.
yeah, well, like you're cleaning up, like
Yeah.
you're the person cleaning up everybody's kills. Like that's what you have to kind of focus on with some of those things. Also, the SMG part, I was like, okay, I'll use Recluse. Then I was like, Recluse is nowhere near as good as where it once was, so I switched to Huckleberry.
Wait, there's an SMG part for the bow quest?
Yeah, you got to get SMG kills.
Okay.
Yeah, I used Recluse, and I still find it to be pretty crazy. You get a kill. I had no health. I got a kill and was able to kill 2 more people because that damage increase is just pretty crazy. But I use it within its intended range.
Why didn't they do auto kills, man? Come on.
With
Just,
the hard light, yeah. Was there auto
Yeah,
kills?
come on, throw us a bone.
I don't remember.
Well, so I
There might have been
didn't
somewhere in
think
there,
that the weapons they had as choose were particularly bad. It was like hand cannons, fusions, and then it was SMG and then a bow. It wasn't like scout
Is that what it
rifle,
was? Yeah.
which that would have been
And then get rocket kills. Some crap like
yeah,
that.
rocket kills.
Right.
Yeah.
Gosh, no way.
Yeah. So it wasn't too
Sword
bad. Wasn't too bad. It took me like 3 hours, and I ended up getting all those pinnacles too. So you get 4 pinnacles for the bounties.
You
as
do
well,
get a
that you
lot,
can work
yeah.
on that, which is nice.
Sounds like wait. So Watts, you said you were almost done at a couple hours.
Yeah.
and you said about 3 hours for you, Tough Raid. So yeah, I'm gonna guess like a 2 to 4 hours for most folks, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I want the bow that bad.
It's just the bow.
I know. I'm always like, I can wait.
Do you need masterwork
But
cores?
Ryan, it's about the journey, not the destination.
Yeah.
It's about the
Right.
fun you had along the way, playing all the PvP your heart could handle.
Right?
Exactly.
Well, then I will look forward to you using Hush very soon. Go on your journey.
Lemon
Get
Arc.
it.
Lemon Arc's great.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like to bust out Graviton Lance still in Crucible.
Okay.
It's-
Oh.
An oldie but
Interesting.
good. Yeah.
I know you're talking about like what
It's
are
a
your
pretty
favorite
gun.
exotics, and I was like, that's probably the exotic I've used the most over the course of Destiny 2. And I know that it feels kind of retro almost to use that gun in PvP. But it's I'm usually a
Does.
pulse rifle person in PvP, but I just never really got my SMG strat down. Sometimes I would go back and forth between pulse and SMG, but
Pulses are still really good. In fact, between Vigilant Swing and Graviton Lance, those are still really good.
the
Oh, I didn't
range
realize
is really
that.
what works for me because I always get a little panicked in close quarters. I've
Mhm.
never mastered using shotguns. The shotgun slide technique has just eluded me. I've tried and I just fail every time, and so I stick with what I know.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, speaking of shotgunning, Trials this last weekend had quite a bit because it was on Anomaly.
Yep.
You know what my one problem with this game is right now? The
Just
certain pants that Titans wear are
Oh, the
getting
old
slightly annoying.
Antius
Dual
Ward.
Marchers?
Yes.
Oh.
And it was very prevalent and very noticeable on Anomaly because it enables them to essentially get close to you and shotgun you without any risk at all. Because they recently buffed them, right? To where basically they're immune all around them when they're dodging. It doesn't matter where you hit them. They can, and it actually works better than Middle Tree Spinny Stick Boy.
Really?
Yeah. It
Spinning stick
like
boy.
sometimes when you spin the stick, sometimes some damage gets through.
staffer.
Sometimes you bounce something off the floor and you kill yourself with it. But with these pants, they're like, okay, we got rid of the chip damage. It's just gonna like block everything.
Yeah, like a Nova
So
Bomb.
yeah, so they can just slide and they eat so many bullets. And it's
What
a
blows
real
my
pain in
mind
the
is
ass.
that you can slide into a Nova Bomb and it will create the vortex, and you're immune to the vortex. The vortex is yours now as a Titan.
It just makes you immune. You're
Yeah.
just immune. You
Yeah.
slid,
What?
you're immune.
Uh-huh.
It even happened like a mid gunfight where I was shooting someone, he just slid and then he's immune. And I'm like, what the hell, man?
Right?
What the hell, man?
Why do Titans always get the good shit? It's not fair.
And then
That's right, I
Warlocks
said
end
it.
up stealing it. You know, I bet Destiny 3, a freaking Warlock's going to steal those boots and be like, I got Antius boards. Remember Garrison? You know, Twilight Garrison? Well, now I got these. Huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I wouldn't be as upset about them if the super for Middle Tree Blade Arc Strider worked as good. But it does not. And it's a super, which doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense to me.
it's built into the
Yeah, it
class.
requires a lot more precision. You have to be very conscious of like where you're aiming it, right? Where I feel like sliding is just like, oh, you just slide and boom,
Yeah.
protect it.
You already slide shoddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that always is one thing. Like, I understand why, classes have to feel different and there's going to be just different stuff. But in these, to your point, Watts, I'm like, yeah, like, do they know that it's that good? And if so, I think you should look across the class and say, okay, well, we're going to try to give each one something that's similar, at least somewhat similar, not, get dominated and feel like I got to like either have to play my Titan or start a Titan if you've never played one, But
And it was
that just
definitely
happens.
Anomaly that really highlighted that. And since then, I've seen a lot more people using them just in the Crucible in general because they were like, oh, this
Wait,
is
in
actually pretty great.
I
In
can
chat,
just
someone
rush
says
in
it
with a
also
shotgun.
gives you super energy when you block the
Yes.
shots. Oh
Yes.
my god!
I didn't
That
realize
seems-
that.
That
Wow.
seems egregious.
Yeah, that's a little aggressive.
I gotta play a Titan. See what I'm talking about? And we still can't use our Raiju's harness yet, which is coming up next week. Our new
Next
Hunter
week, we're
Exotic.
gonna be able to.
The
Oh
Spinny
my
Boys
goodness.
will be back.
Spinny Boys back
So
in
Like
town.
what
excited.
consumes less super, right, Watts?
Yeah.
And
And you can cancel
stop
the
it.
super. Yeah.
yeah, and keep like your
and keep
energy.
some super energy.
Oh, that's so nice.
It is
Yeah.
really nice. I
That's
can't
gonna
wait
be
to
really
actually
interesting.
try it, because if I'm gonna play anything that's not like top or middle tree Night Stalker, it's middle tree
Yeah.
Arc Strider.
I like
I
Arc
pretty
Strider
much
a
play
lot.
middle and PvP all the time.
Yeah, it's really fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
And then I mean, you can block like supers with it. So
Yeah.
that's what I'm worried about with Righteous Harness is like in theory. Well, I guess
What
you
if
got to
you
build.
only use it to block, Fran? What if you
Yeah,
pop your super and you block, and
that's
then you
what I-
cancel it, and then you just use it to block again? You're like, enemy has a super up, I'll just save mine to block.
That's what I'm saying. But I wonder how much it costs you in that time to like.
I don't know.
Does
Yeah.
it consume any super when you block?
I
don't
feel like
know.
it's going to consume at least half.
Yeah,
So
it
you
should
can't abuse it.
I have
because
no idea.
otherwise, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'll just try to block supers.
Right.
I'll still miss
Yeah.
50% of them, but
So Trials this last weekend was an interesting combo. There was the shotgun that was available, but you could get it on the third win,
Yes.
which was the perfect storm for some questionable matchmaking that was going on, to where
Yeah.
high-end teams were resetting their cards and
Heard
just playing the
this.
first 3 rounds, getting tokens, and making standard
with
trials.
a different character, right?
No, they were just the same character. Just keep on resetting
Yeah.
because you keep on earning
So
tokens.
Oh, because you
they
always
don't-
get the third drop no matter what. I got you.
Well, no, it's so you play the easy matches of the card, because obviously it works on connection based and then card based matchmaking. So they're playing the easy parts and not getting to 5 wins to keep their loot pool smaller. So they
Right.
just keep doing the token farm. They're just farming for tokens, trying to get their perfect shotgun. So the way that Trials matchmaking is supposed to work is it's supposed to be, these first rounds are kind of, you could get really lucky if you're not that confident of a PvP player, and you could get to 3, you could get to 5, and it's great. But with Anomaly, people who should definitely be past 3 wins were just sitting on 1 to 3 wins, which made it very difficult.
Yeah. It was the map. Anomaly just really highlights if your team is not communicating that well. And if you're going against a team that's hyper aware of the map and communication and are shotgunning, like it's rough.
Yeah.
It's like a
By the
tournament.
way, I brought up what I was saying, but I thought you were talking about how if you didn't have, say, a new character into Trials yet, you didn't have the armor piece from the win, or that would reduce your pool, right? So some people were going that far even, right?
Yes.
That you'd go to a character. That's what I did, by the way. So like I didn't have my
Fran's
Warlock
like,
there yet. So I did go to 3.
I'm a professional
And then-
Trials player. What can I say?
Yeah, and then just farm tokens. But
Did you get a shotgun that you like?
no, I mean,
See, this is
I
why I
got-
don't play
yeah.
Trials. I can't be bothered. If I'm gonna spend time in Destiny, I don't want to throw my controller across the room. I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, it wasn't that good of a Trials experience. It's sadly like the previous weekend was amazing. It felt like old Trials were back, and it was exciting. It was fun to try to go flawless. This weekend, it was like, yikes! I'm not a fan of the map. It's just really promoting gameplay that I'm not a fan of. Aping, and yeah, those cards were rough.
The map, they opened it up a little bit more, so you can have, say if they have 1 sniper and 2 shotgunners, you have 2 really aggressive people running at you, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna fight this guy, and then their teammate with sniper is somewhere across the map, and they can see you everywhere.
Yeah,
There's very little places that they can actually have a shot on you, so that was really rough, and it was the perfect storm for just bad experiences to be happening. And with Hardlight, you have stuff bouncing around. I don't even know where I'm getting shot from. Who knows? Who can tell?
You're getting
It's a
shot in
mystery.
a hallway. It's like, what hallway? It's one of the 4 corners. The room's a donut. They're in the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I know how some of the community feels about it, but I still feel like a lockout on certain things. Like, I know we want to all have our opportunity to use what we've earned, and there's a certain delicate balance with that, but I'm just like, I still would love to see something like Trials as a perfect example, and Iron Banner, whatever. You can't use Hardlight. It's just not. You can't use it. Big deal. I mean, I think it's fine in those situations. Like, I know that it's not that overpowered, but it is, I think, 100% annoying. So I'm rating it on annoying factor, and it's the ricochet that's it's annoying to your point, right? Like, you can stay away, but
yeah, because Overwatch has done something recently where they have a rotation of heroes that you can't pick. So for that period, you can't play these heroes. So I've always thought that this would be really nice for Gambit because Gambit played really well when it was specific loadouts that people were using, and then it started getting questionable when certain things were really, really strong. But I think it could be interesting to mess around with something like that.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like loadouts, things you have to pick, or things that are just off the table.
Yeah, and maybe not like loadouts you have to pick. It's funny that you read my mind too on Gambit. When Gambit launched, I was like, this almost seems like I kind of want to just choose from classes. I know that it's not quite where we're at in Destiny, but like right away I was like, oh, I just want to like unlock and choose these classes. I don't want to have to earn all these different levels of armor. So for that especially, it'd be really nice to have like a meta per week in Gambit maybe and have class characters or whatever. But for trials, yeah, I just feel like it goes back to Destiny 1, that's all. Like you get to a point where something is just so maybe annoying is the word I'm going to use for now, because everybody's response is like you can counter that, like don't go near them with that, and don't stay away from the ricochet. And you're like, yeah, but it's still really annoying,
Yeah, I can still be annoyed.
And I do have guns I want to use. So yeah, meaning let me put it this way: taking hard light. Say you disable it because it's annoying. It's won the annoying award for the meta right now. So in trials, it's not allowed. There's so many other guns still to choose from that are auto rifles that are great. So it's not like you totally lose out. So I don't know.
Having played most of the matches, like we saw a few hard lights, but those weren't necessarily the problem matches. The problem matches were the people who were just blitzing with
shotgunners.
Yeah, mind benders. Just boom, 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 boom. And it was like,
yeah.
When I load up the team and it's like, oh, there's 3 mind benders with the Titan pants. He's got the pants on.
Yep.
Oh boy, we're just gonna get ran at from different angles. I'm not gonna be able to shoot them for a while, and then when I do shoot them, they're just gonna slide again. And this is gonna be a good time. I'm gonna have, and then they're gonna get all that super energy when I'm hitting them. It's great.
What is the counter for that? Like
shotguns.
I mean, but so you're saying essentially the counter is just to like run
straight up.
You know, honestly,
yeah, it
Bastion
really is.
Was the counter to that. Bastion, I found that a lot of teams who were just running didn't know what to do with Bastion.
I could see that
so
working,
anytime I saw a team that was just really, really aggressive like that, I actually put out Gemini Jesters and Bastion. So they'd run at me, Gemini Jesters to get rid of their radar, and then just kind of wait for them with Bastion.
It's interesting because, like we're almost touching on it. It almost seems like Trials needs to give you that. I don't necessarily want this, by the way. Again, I'm just sometimes people think I say stuff and that's what I want, or it's about me. I'm just brainstorming people. Conversation. Like in Gambit, you have a moment to like change your loadout up. Like, do you think that might be useful in Trials? Is just slow things down way too much, just for the first, load in.
You mean lock the loadout next match, then unlock it?
No, not even lock it. Just give you a chance to change. Like, because like once you load in, unless you read the roster, there's no real way to prepare for the match, right? You just
Like maybe they do that draft type scenario where you can have a time to like strat with your team.
Like in Gambit, where you sit between the two walls and you kind of have like that moment to be like, all right, I see whatever. It's exactly what Watt's talking about. It seems like it's that kind of team. They can always change it, the next round, but meaning Gambit, you have time to like change your loadout. Maybe Trials, I don't know, could benefit. I guess you don't run into
you still have time to change your loadout in Trials as well.
Not as much time, that's all. But yeah,
I think for you, Fran, might not be enough time. But most people,
I mean, you think it's not enough.
For Fran and his menu.
Fran's busting out a spreadsheet, being like, "What gun is going to be the most optimal?"
No, that won't help me. No, but well, maybe just having loadouts is part of this too. Like that, actually, loadouts would solve this, right?
I mean, you're going to have your sniper, you're going to have your shotgun, you're going to have your hand cannon, you're going to have your auto rifle, like.
Then I have my armor from my fusion rifle and from my shotgun.
Exactly.
That's what I was getting
at.
And
change all the mods.
Nice. It'd be nice to have those loadouts, especially your high recovery or high mobility, or to have some loadouts for PvP. Actually, that would be. Yeah. See, how hard is it, Andrea? You're right.
It's not that hard. Literally every other PvP game has loadouts. Come on, Bungie.
All you do in Division 2, you hit.
I'll say that when I'm streaming, a lot of people will be like, "That's what Dim's for, man," and I'm like, I don't want to have to go outside the game, to activate a loadout. I don't think that's cool. It should be in the game. I'm a proponent of that as well.
It needs to be in game. It needs to be a tool that you can go to the tower, and you can spend the time building the loadout that you want, and that way you don't have to feel pressured to have to be moving your mods around. Because I think the mod system is great because it allows you to customize so much more than we had control over before. But it just sometimes takes time for you to figure out what that customization is going to look like.
Yeah.
And once I get something that works, I want to be able to save it. So that way, if I'm going to do PvE stuff with my friends, or I'm running like the Flashpoint or whatever, that I don't have to like redo all of the mods on all of my stuff again.
Completely agree. I had a machine gun loadout for my hunter with Dragon Shadows, and then I had a fusion rifle one, then I had a shotgun, and all these have like the stuff built around it for getting extra super energy and the scavenger perks and the ammo finders and all that link with that. They're very important with all those mods. When you break those pieces apart, then the build falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just got me thinking about maybe one day there'd be a mode, or maybe PvP changes. What if you could change, your class without going all the way back to orbit? Would that be the end of the world to be like, you know what? I want to be a Titan, and I don't want to go to orbit.
Wow.
What if
You'd have to
break the whole game?
Well, that to me, I don't have a problem with, because I think the magic
I didn't say I had a problem.
player of Destiny is still lost on people. And I think that when you compare it to other games, you realize just how well Destiny does drop in, drop out multiplayer.
Mhm.
I mean, I think, a good example of that is when Borderlands 3 launched. And like Borderlands does great multiplayer as well, but it's not as seamless as Destiny's multiplayer.
Right.
And a lot of games have really restrictive loading and loadout like lobbies and how you have to group up. And if we can preserve how fluid multiplayer is, and means you still have to go to orbit to change your entire character class, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I agree. Destiny is a really incredible example of that, and that does mean the peer-to-peer system that exists in it. And I'm always talking about dedicated servers for PvP, but I know for PvE, a lot of that is hinged upon the ability, or the peer-to-peer experience is hinged upon that, where people can just zone in and zone out freely in patrol and all that. And it's a pretty amazing experience that doesn't actually have a dedicated server like World of Warcraft handling all that data. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a TWAB that we should probably mention and talk about.
We
Fran, do you want to pull it up?
Talk about it. It was
I
pretty.
got it pulled open.
It was pretty light, but there's something.
There's stuff in there.
There's something of note in here.
I barely glanced at it, so.
Watts, did you get a chance to read it yet?
Yes.
Do you want to take us through it a little bit? I'm happy to help.
So I think the most important thing is the world drops. So as you know, they added like faction armor to the world drops and some other armor, but they didn't have a seasonal mod slot at all. Not last season's, not the season before, not this season. So for me, I'm loving using the Warmind cells. So I get that armor and I'm like, oh, I can't use my Warmind cell. I can't use the build at all.
Doesn't have your mods you want.
Yeah, so they are changing that. So it's going to be an update next month. There's going to be 3 faction sets. We'll get the Season of the Worthy mod slot, so they should be relevant for a little while. And then the rest of the armor will either get Season of Dawn or Season of Undying mod slots. So all faction gear is this season's mod slot.
That's great.
Which is great. They do have a list in the TWAB of which ones will be getting Season of Dawn and which will be getting Season of Undying. But they're gonna have mod slots.
Cool. That's
Thank
great.
goodness. Now I can use the armor. That's great.
I still have yet to do a Warmind cell build. I hear that's really
It's
fun.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's the best thing.
It's
the best thing ever.
Why do you like it so much again, Watts?
So it's.
I haven't had a chance to go that deep. That's why I
At first, I thought it was just like. It was just a fun thing that you could do to kind of switch up the way you play, but it's actually really good in high-end content, especially as there's this mod called cellular suppression. So every time you hit a Warmind cell, you don't even have to explode it. You hit it, it sends out this wave that suppresses enemies. So in high-end content, when you're against a bunch of guys that are hitting you really hard, you send out that wave and they're all just like, I'm blind, I can't see, it's impossible. Which really, really helps. There was a really awesome build that I did as well with swords. So there's a mod where you take less damage when it's from the enemy that is near a Warmind cell. So you can create a Warmind cell, the enemy's near the Warmind cell, and then there's also a mod with the sword from the artifact that you take less damage when you have a sword. So you can kind of go in there and survive a lot longer with that taking much less damage. So there's just so many things that you can do. You can use it for ad control. You can do a ton of damage if you spec for it. Big explosions, lots of burning. So it's really good, not just against ads, but it's also good in high-end content, and it's good against bosses. And there's ways to proc it more often. It doesn't have to just come from the Seraph weapon kills. You can have a build where every time you use an arc ability, it will spawn a cell.
Interesting.
So using that with something like Lucky Raspberry, right, where you throw down an arc bolt and it is just constantly getting your arc bolt back and constantly making Warmind cells. It's really fun.
That's cool.
Stuff.
How long does it take, would you say, to grind to the point that you start getting some of this good stuff to build out?
So there's still some that I don't have. I think most of them drop from the public event, but there are also some that you can buy from the bunker itself. So you can start messing around with it just from upgrading your bunker and being able to buy some of them. So I wouldn't say too long to start, at least doing like the basic stuff.
Yeah. But you pretty much just grind the Seraph Tower events, go back to the bunker and do your bounties and get it done that way, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I have done a little. I just haven't spent the time. And you've been selling it a few weeks in a row is why I bring it up. And I know some people have been like, it's not for me. But I do, again, as a test bed, I'm like, I like some of the RPG elements that they're throwing in there now. It's getting interesting to see where they'll decide to take it.
Yeah, it's really cool. There's a new mod this week, which is all about proccing Warmind cells on solar explosions. So you can use like Sunshot and it explodes everything, makes a Warmind cell, explode that. It's really
Did this come from the moon bunker?
Believe so, yeah.
Cool. So this week the moon got its own Seraph bunker, which is basically the same thing, right?
It's basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's cool. You can go in there, you throw in the bits, upgrade it, max out, and then get that stuff. Yeah.
The only part about it that I found kind of excessively grindy was that like you have to upgrade the bunkers individually, and like so like your upgrades aren't persistent across the bunkers. And I was like, really? Like
also
just one more
because
chore for you.
also because it doesn't necessarily feel different, right? It's like the same bunker system, upgrade system, right?
Yeah, I mean, even down to like, you know, the interaction you have with Anna in the bunker itself, like that little like narrative moment felt almost identical. And I was like, well, this feels like you could have tried just a tiny bit harder or just made it feel like less grindy to have to get there. And I don't know like what the answer for that is, you know, like I'm sure I could think of something, but I'm not going to try to do
like maybe a shortcut if you maxed out the previous one.
Yeah, something like that. Or like a bonus, buff. Like if you have the last one. Yeah, like a buff. Like if you've maxed out the last one, like you get like discounts on buying the upgrades because your last bunker is maxed out, or you get like some other kind of buff or stat. Something
it's like
feel like it's not so like, oh man, I guess I have to start all over with the new bunker.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. It's like a seasonal XP buff, right? You'd get a bunker buff. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, that's why incentivize you to keep doing them versus just like, well, time for the next bunker. But they do have to stretch out, you know, the content to last until I forget how many days are left, but it's a ways. We got a ways out.
Yeah, and who knows?
Is that when the IO bunker? When's the IO bunker coming?
That I don't know.
Don't know.
I need to pull up the map. But that's when we get the hang cannon to be able to farm that.
Interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So this is not related to this stuff, but I just remembered, and maybe chat can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I believe Iron Banner is also dropping new mods as well, right?
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh,
so
really?
I don't know which ones specifically that it's dropping. That's been introduced into the pool for the season. But we should mention that if you are on that mod chase, there's some new stuff from Iron Banner that you can get by turning in tokens.
Yeah, new enhanced mods.
Yeah, enhanced mods. Yep. So that's worth it. I'm probably gonna go and turn in a bunch of tokens. Before I was like, I'm not playing any more Iron Banner. I can't stand this mode anymore. And then I saw those enhanced mods or enhanced mods. I'm like, well, I do want those.
Oh, wasn't the bow that brought you in?
The bow brought me in, and I'm like, oh, I'm done. Had enough. And now the mods are bringing me back in. Yeah.
I'm gonna check it out this weekend.
So anything else from the TWAB?
Just the fixings.
Yeah, there's a lot of fixings. I don't have my mouse.
Yeah,
Ran over to you.
It is for this is the stuff that's for March. I know. Bella's on the table, right?
Yeah, Bella is
Yeah, it's her
she
cat.
stole the mouse. It's gone.
Oh, Bella. It's a good name.
So
Uh,
cute though.
Yeah, Bella's the best. So anyway, for next week on Tuesday, March 31st, they are deploying a number of fixes. One of them I already mentioned, right? Like Raiju's harness, the new Hunter exotic, has been disabled because there was like some bug stuff. That'll be one of them that will be able to get a big change with that patch. Outside of that, there's like some other maybe minor stuff. I think that was one of the bigger ones. But like if you are a fan of let's see. Season Pass SMG and shotguns will now create Warmind cells with Season Pass ornaments equipped, which apparently was like some bug.
So I guess if you put an ornament on it, it was like, this is no longer a 7-star weapon.
That's what it sounds like.
Weird.
And then there's like some other minor fixes. Raiju's looks like it was the biggest thing in there. They did have they fixed an issue where the first weekly clear of a legendary lost sector would not award a powerful job. So that's
Yes,
kind of
I did
a
notice
bigger
that.
one on the power grind. And otherwise, just check it out. I don't think there was anything too
Not
crazy
a
in
whole
there.
lot. And then it's just talking about Twitch Prime rewards. So this time you can get Prometheus Lens and the Eye of Osiris weapon ornament, and then a shell and a ship. And the rest of it is just like reports of fixes. Like they talked
Okay.
about the
Yeah, it's been
Trials
pretty
Weekly
light.
Challenge reset time. Because of course that was an issue. It wasn't resetting on Friday when Trials came out. It was coming at 5 p.m. on Saturdays, which is
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So did they say that they fixed this? Oh, they discovered an error. Rewards will be granted in a future patch. We will move this reset to Friday, so it's still Saturday at the moment.
So you don't
So
want to
if
go
you are
flawless
not-
on Friday.
Maybe not. Sometimes it worked. I don't know. It's weird and confusing. But
Guarantee if you do it on Saturday.
to
you're good.
guarantee, yeah, if you are someone who is like not crazy about playing Trials and you want to make sure you have the rewards, then best just wait for Saturday
Okay. Yeah.
after 5.
Yeah. They say in the future patch though they will move it to a Friday daily reset.
Yes.
It is worth noting if you've been trying. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go for it.
I was just gonna say if you like your seals and want to get that Season of the Worthy seal, a lot of people, they were saying have been unsuccessful trying to unlock this hidden triumph, and the triumph is not currently available, but it will be so in late April. So we got a month or
Interesting.
so before you can really get into this seal. It sounds like so. I'm sensing maybe a little story development around then. Maybe. What do you guys think?
Right?
That's what I think that might. I just made that up
Well-
right now, but lines up.
Well, that's actually, I think that's the question. A lot of people are are having big mixed feelings about this season right now, and mostly because they're not really PvP people, and they're not exactly excited about the bunkers, So, I guess where do you guys see this season going? Like,
Well, the bunkers feel just so much like the forges. At least to me, that was like kind of the first impression I got when I started doing the bunker
Throwing the ball.
gameplay. That I was like, oh, this just feels like I'm doing a forge. I mean, I like that there's a little bit of a deeper mechanic to working in the forge, but at the same time, it's just, I don't know, maybe just feels repetitive in the same way that a lot of the PvE activities feel repetitive.
Mhm.
And like I appreciate that, Bungie is trying to make sure that they're putting a focus on PvP activities for that fan base within the Destiny community. But I am disappointed in the idea that it has to be one or the other, that it can't be both.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's interesting what's going on. Like I sense it as well. I mean, there's definitely interesting things to chase, like with the whole mechanics with the Warmind cells and do builds around that. But at the same time, is the content worth making those builds for? Like it's kind of like the Division thing. Like you can make all these builds in Division, but is it worth using those builds in the Division with the content that's available? And I feel like Destiny's kind of running into that issue right now when it comes to PvE.
Yeah.
I mean, there is
for
going to be
sure.
the Master Nightfalls.
Yeah, it's going to be harder
Grandmaster, yeah.
Nightfalls, which will be fun. And I think it's one reason why I'm really excited for that focus to shift, like what Luke Smith in the director's cut said, where he wants to focus more on content that is already in the game that we do all the time already, like strikes and Crucible and all of that stuff. Because I I would love to load up the game and play a strike and be like, oh, there's a new thing that happens in the strike. There's this new specific loot that dropped from the strike. I would love to see that, because that's something that we play all the time in the strike playlist, instead of having like the constant additions of these types of activities.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Watts, did you ever say the date on the Seraph Bunker, by the way, going back to that?
No.
I pulled it up. So April 7th, so just a couple weeks away, basically,
Yeah,
for the
not far
IO.
away.
Seraph Bunker will be up then. And then in late April, which we're, bouncing off of the fact that there might be a seal change coming up then, or more info available. On April 21st through May 11th are the Guardian games, actually, if you remember, which seems
Guardian
like some,
games, yeah.
it's now class wars, it seems
Yeah.
like, versus, the faction stuff of the past. And I don't think we have info on how that stuff works yet, right? So
April 21st.
It'll be
That's when you're going to get your non-essential Amazon deliveries.
that's right.
Oh, that audio cable that I ordered back a month ago.
Have they ever revealed numbers or stats about the class makeup of the community of like all of their active
They
players?
used to in the past. I haven't seen it in a while, I don't think, right?
Can you check it on Charlemagne?
Yeah, I bet you
think
Charlemagne
so.
has it.
Yeah. Obviously, that's
There's
not the
more
whole
Bungie has
hunters.
not
population.
in a while, I don't think.
There's definitely more hunters.
As there should be, right?
It's the best class. I mean, obviously.
Clearly.
It makes sense.
Poor Warlocks who listen to this show. But that during that April 21st Guardian game stuff, there is going to be new legendary armor then too. So
There,
also
yeah.
worth noting that in terms of stuff to look forward to, that's coming at least.
Yeah.
And then it just says and more after that.
Like I said, there's things to look forward to and there's things to do, but like how interesting are they for like the large portion of PvE players,
It's tough without what you're getting at, right? It's always tough when there's not like a new raid, honestly, and there's not new content like we got with Shadowkeep.
Or
Like,
even just a new strike. Like it doesn't even need to be raid level. I mean, a new
Yeah.
raid would be cool, of course, but it doesn't need to be something so in depth as a new raid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like that's what we always run into. And unfortunately, a raid normally comes along with, not unfortunately, it's a great package, but like Shadowkeep, right, was all
The big
it,
expansion.
But it's not like you see that they've also got, well, that's not true. We did get, say, last year with Black Armory and stuff, we did get a new raid, and man, that was nice. But they all but have said, they're like that the team was like really stretched thin.
Yeah, the pace is
we're
too
not
aggressive.
sustaining. It's not the right work environment, et cetera. So it seems like hopefully they're solving that. And I've always brought up like, are there ways to increase the team size and the player based, and even maybe subscriptions or whatever it is to get to the point where you get that package of I got a strike, okay, every quarter, every season or whatever. I get, I get the secret exotic quest, and I get the dungeons are the big thing that people often say. They're like, I can understand why there's no raid, but what about?
Yeah, bring
Dungeon?
Prison of Elders back. Let's go.
Yes.
Damn you,
Come to
Glass.
the prison. Where's Holzman? He does a good.
Yeah, right.
He does do, yeah. That's
And
his thing.
Andrea, how do you feel about them bringing back D1 content into the game?
I want it so bad. And I think
Yeah.
it's because I spent so much time. It's interesting to me talking to some members of my clan about this because a surprising amount of people in my clan didn't play any D1.
Really?
And I'm like, but why? It was so good. I mean, D2 is inarguably better, but I mean, I just have such fond memories of playing the D1 content. I would love to be able to take the current gear system and the current weapons and the way that they are handling progression from an RPG standpoint and be able to go back and play the original raid. Like, even if they only brought the raids back and were like, listen, we're not going to bring back any of the missions or any of the strikes. If it was just raids, I would be like, Jeff's kiss would be awesome. I mean, they were some really cool strikes too in D1 that I would love to see brought back.
Absolutely.
But, I mean, in a perfect world, if we were having like a wish list, I would like the whole game, like, remastered for PS5 and Xbox Series X. I think that would be really cool. I think that would be a cool thing for them to bring for the new console gen.
One mega Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm down.
I'd be down for that too. I know a lot of people are like
Destiny.
they don't want reskins, they don't want things coming back. They already throw a fit over other stuff that used to be in the game coming forward. I still think it's fun, and I like seeing that stuff. I still want to see new stuff, obviously. But if they
Yes.
can bring in old stuff and not destroy their development time, that'd be awesome. I'd love that.
Yeah. I mean, even to what Fran was saying about bringing in something quarterly with a new season, if they brought back either a single raid from D1 or even just a single strike, like I'll take anything at this point, and they added it into the seasonal offering, I think it would be such a big win for legacy players to say, hey, you know, we had this thing. All we had to do was tweak it a little bit to make it work in D2. But essentially the content is the same. But now you get to play with, you know, all of your new gear, and then they make like a new, you know, a new gear set or a new gun or something to drop, you know, when you play it in the new season. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with where they're going right now with the seasonal mod system and like the Warmind cells and all that. I'm excited to see where that goes in the future for Destiny when it gets more or put in more into an actual expansion type of thing where it's not just that season. It's like, okay, this is in the ecosystem of the builds. Like that's gonna be really cool to see.
I think this September, October, I feel like that's what we're leading to, you know?
Definitely feels like they're going that way.
Yeah, like you basically said it right. Think of a Forsaken level drop or Shadowkeep level, but Forsaken level with these new evolutions. That's going to be pretty exciting. It's going to be a changed game. You know, look back last year, we didn't have any of this. You know, and think how much, you know, mods and stuff has started to change our thinking. And so,
should we do Twitter questions?
Probably. I got to play Borderlands.
Sure.
My goodness. I don't have the thing up. I can pull it up.
We're just lost without Briar. Let's admit it.
Briar handles this, and he's not here
Briar
tonight.
handles it. And especially if we don't have any notice, it's definitely going to be a mess. But we can definitely try.
Yeah, we're going to be pulling it
I
off the cuff
12
here.
minutes notice, you know?
And your hair looks great, Fran. Amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's all
Unsurprisingly.
camera tricks, everybody. All right, where's the thread with the questions? You guys got it yet?
Yes, I do have it.
This is where we all mumble through at the same time until someone's like, okay, I got it.
Okay.
And we're like, great.
So your boy Jordan says, for Andrea, after the Fire Team Chat debate episode, did you end up liking Last Wish Raid?
So before I answer the question, just a little bit of context about what that means. So I was on an episode of Fire Team Chat, and it was a very fiery debate indeed, split between me and Fran on one side, and it was CJ and Sean on the other side, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Destin and Sean. CJ was like playing moderator, wasn't he? Yeah,
Was he?
CJ was moderator.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was, I think, but whatever the case, it was Destin on the other side. Let's just keep it simple, right?
Yeah. So essentially, like the debate was, did they release the raid too quickly? And was it fair or not fair to have to kind of have this unrealistic expectation that players, in order to be able to get through the raid or even really enter the raid past the first encounter, would have essentially had to be pro streamers or pro YouTubers playing around the clock in order to grind their light level high enough in order to be successful in the raid. And I was of the mindset that, like, no, nobody likes doing that. It's not fun for people to play hours and hours on end. It's also unhealthy to be playing, you know, like 15 to 20 hours a day in order to try to get to the raid level when they're releasing it. I'm like, just delay it like a week or two. So that was the crux of the debate. And it was a very hot debate indeed.
Heated.
So, yes.
That was the show. I think I brought, not that this is not my singular idea, but contest. Like that was like one of my wishes on the show. I'm like, why aren't there ways to like cap? Have
contest rules,
which is awesome now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did like the raid, the Last Wish. It was fun. Like, I mean, obviously the first time you go through any raid is always going to be challenging as you're trying to figure out the flow. And for me, like, the struggle has always been figuring out which guns are going to do the most DPS in the moments that count, because I mean, you can wave clear and, you know, run the mobs as often as you want, but it's like when it comes to the moment that matters, like if you just don't have the right gun that's doing the right amount of damage, like you're just never going to be successful. And like we just had, the first time I ran it, we just had so much trouble on the witches. And I just remember like just clearing the Taken over and over and over again. I hate
Yeah.
these taken thralls that like teleport. You know, you're like you're
Mm.
just shooting them and you miss because they're constantly teleporting
So
side to
they're-
side, and then
they're
somebody
lag
always
switching.
forgets
They're cracked
one.
out.
And you have to run back there and get it. Overall, the raid was really cool, but by the time I got to it, because I didn't want to bang my head against a wall, the team already knew how to cheese the Riven fight. And so I was like, I never actually, to this
Oh
day,
no, you had to
have
do it
not gone
cheesed.
through the Riven fight like
Wow.
the traditional way. Every time I've done it, we've cheesed it. So
Yeah. Yeah, what's funny about all that was, so yeah, I was super, like, I was arguing with Destin at his desk, when this happened. Because, again, like, we both worked at IGN, Destin's still there, but full-time job. My job was not content creation, running the video team and all this stuff. And so I didn't really get to play that much. And I go home, like, super tired and try to hop on for a few hours. So I played about 5 hours a day. And again, I thought, we won't go through the whole spiel again. You get the idea.
the power per hour.
That's right. But I was devastated. I felt really left out. And so fast forward, I think, Andrea, you beat the raid before I did. I was streaming just to get my power up, but then to find a team that was willing to do it blind was so difficult. I finally did. And a couple people didn't say anything, and it took a very long time, but I was able to do the whole thing blind, but it took me till early December, when Black Armory released. I barely made it, in time.
That's
but I got to
wild.
do it blind.
I didn't realize why the commitment to do it blind, Fran? Explain.
Because that's what it is about for me. It's like, do you want me to go into Zelda with you and walk you through the temple? I don't want to do that. And legitimately, that is the wonder of stepping in and being like, what is this? It's less about me figuring out, too. Like, as a team, you do that. But being there, when it's happening is just so much fun. So anyway, they've fixed a lot of that contest and all. Like, it really allows you to, for the most part, it's been somewhat sane, you can get into the raid. And,
Yeah.
they might be tough, but you can.
They're
play
not
along
like
with everybody
releasing a
else.
power jump and the raid on the same day.
Right. Yeah.
Like they're given a few days so you can
That
have a
was
breather.
intense.
Their power
Yeah.
is better. I mean, let's just say it. It used to be, like, if you look at Forsaken, you legitimately had to play 10 hours a day. That was my average I was seeing, and they've brought that average down. I think they know those numbers a lot better, and they can predict the RNG
The Forsaken
better.
one was pretty aggressive, and also RNG could really screw you on that.
Yeah.
Oh, just for that, huh? RNG just only screws you once. No, RNG screws you all the time. RNG that doesn't
Apparently
even know
you.
my name.
Yeah. You are not one of the blessed.
Yeah, it could be pretty bad. That's for sure. Let's see. Next question. Anybody have a question?
No.
You got
Did you
one?
have
You're like, nope, I don't go.
I thought I did. I do have one. Let's just ask it, but we already kind of
Okay.
asked this last week, I think. But
Okay.
Andrea and everybody, if you could make any small animals as large as dinosaurs, what animal would that be?
Well, which dinosaur are you referring to?
Oh, look at her, so technical. Well, the dinosaurs are very different sizes. She's
They
right.
are.
So you can apply your own terms. This is
Modern day
always-
dinosaurs? The birds?
So just you can pick it if you want to go that deep. You can pick a dinosaur size because you're much smarter than I was approaching it as.
I was not prepared for this kind of a question, but
You're like a giant, like Glad would want like a giant hamster, as an example.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about Watson Teft? Why she's thinking?
Let's see. A giant.
What would be
animal.
the cutest, most fluffiest thing?
I would. Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking
Chinchilla?
about. Same deal.
Like a
Yeah,
puppy?
chinchilla.
A
A
bunny?
chinchilla is pretty good. Chinchillas are pretty damn cute.
Yeah, I think like a bunny or a chinchilla would be.
What about
Ooh,
a penguin?
bunny.
A penguin would be cool.
Penguin would be
Giant
cool.
Penguin would
I'd
be
say
Sounds
giant
like a
penguin.
terror, man.
Yeah.
Flopping around.
It'd be
That'd be
crashing
Waddling,
into everything.
eating fish. Yeah.
That'd be
Doing
like
the belly
Godzilla.
slide, right?
Exactly. All right. No, I think that's as far as we get in that question.
All right. Let's see. Ivan says, which game currently seems to have a better grip on seasonal content and game things? Destiny 2 or the Division 2? Curious of your thoughts. I know we touched on this a little bit, but I'm curious for like
You didn't
end
say
game
which.
seasonal stuff. What do you think's better right now?
It's interesting because I think that the world of the Division 2 is, to me, more interesting because it doesn't feel like you have to go to the same locations over and over and over again. And the fact that they're based on real world locations is really cool. So I had the really awesome opportunity to go with the team from Massive on a trip that Ubisoft invited me on to go to Washington, D.C. before the game launched. And we got to tour a couple of the locations that are in the game. The way that the
That's really
team
cool.
recreated them was phenomenal. And so being able to go to all those different places in the game, I think are really neat. And I think the way that they hide secrets and lore in the Division 2 feels like you're motivated to go and find them. Whereas I feel like in Destiny, it's a little bit more obtuse on how you go find specific secrets in the world. And there's not as many secrets to find as there are in the Division 2. And I like what they did with adding in more seasonal content. The new expansion, the New York stuff is like a whole nother really cool thing that they added that was like, hey, we're going to reuse some of these locations that we developed for the Division, but it's in a whole different season. And so you're really looking at New York in a very different way than you did when you played the original Division.
Yeah, it was a whole new area of New York even.
Yeah, but that said, like I mentioned when we were talking about it earlier, the big difference for me is that the personality of the gear in the Division 2 doesn't make it worth chasing as much as the gear in Destiny does.
So you think Destiny 2's endgame chase for seasonal content is still better?
I think it edges it out because they do, like exotic quests, for example, I think Destiny does really well. I think the idea that they're going to give you this piece of gear that's a high level piece of gear, and then you can choose to do the chase or not, knowing what you're going to get at the end of it, I think is awesome. Whereas in the Divisions, like, cool, I'm just going to chase this for like another RNG, like rifle drop, it's like, it's very, like the exotics in the Division 2 are like non-existent. Like the ability to get exotics is so difficult. I think I have 2 and I've put over 150 hours into the Division 2. And it's just like,
You
I
gotta
feel like
go to the right places, but yeah.
I mean,
Friends
yes,
like,
I like Division 2.
though, but I just don't feel like the
How dare
exotics
you.
in the Division 2 have, like I said, I don't think that they have personality the way that the ones in Destiny have.
No, you can't. I mean, I don't know many games that can compete with Bungie's personality, in terms of the guns, like especially the exotics and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But just period. But
the recalibration library, though,
I could go off like a whole nother show on that.
So are you thumbs up or thumbs down on recalibration library?
Oh, thumbs up. Let me tell you. Let me put it this way without going too deep into it. Is if you guys haven't checked out the recalibration library in Division 2, what it's let you doing is save your highest level stat so you can roll it back into gear after. So imagine it on armor in Destiny. We may have already brought this up, but imagine you got like really high recovery. And of course, it's got to be balanced to this, but you have really high. And instead of just shoving it in your vault and like, who knows, and you probably won't even do that. You just never use it because it's not a good roll anyway because it's armor in Destiny. But you save the high stat roll. And eventually what happens is you might get a roll later that is really good, except the recovery's no good, but you were able to save that one stat roll and roll it into it. You have one opportunity in those set of stats to do it. And so basically what happens is you don't have to hold on.
Take that high recovery and roll it into your new armor that you got. That's a higher stat roll.
Which is pretty good overall, but it just was missing recovery. But you actually saved a stat roll on that. So in other words, you can't just keep re-rolling the gear to be perfect because that would be a weird system. It's like you can hold on to some stats, and it's a little easier in Division 2, by the way, because
you have to sacrifice the item to get that though. So that's the key part.
Yeah, you get rid of the item. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say I have LMGs are my favorite, primary weapon in the Division 2. If I get a talent, that gives me a specialized, set of perks, but the other stats on that gun aren't something I want, I can take it to the recalibration station, dismantle the gun, pull the talent out of the gun, put the talent in my recalibration library. So now the rest of the gun's just gone. You've lost it. And you don't get materials from it, and you don't get credits for it. So you only get to pull the stat off of it. But with how much gear drops in the Division 2, it's such a great way to cycle through stuff that you're not going to use to figure out kind of what your god roll is going to be for the gear that you want.
Yeah. So again, without going too deep, it changed me from being paralyzed because I also stream these games and I cannot By the way, if you've ever seen me try to go into my vault while I'm streaming, I'm a total disaster. I start panicking and I apologize for like 10 minutes and say, I don't know what to, I can't. And then I just start hyperventilating.
Paralysis from analysis.
And I would do the exact same thing in Division 2, which is even worse. You used to have to hold on to like 5 LMGs and wait for a new LMG, and crazy. But I literally have cleared out my entire stash and I've started to build this like perfect library. And I just start deleting stuff now, like so easy. I've never had a better time. And in Destiny, I can tell you, we just don't have that yet. So I actually hope they take a look at it. It wouldn't be the same, but there's something going on. Like, I mean, you can't save a gun.
Yeah, the class system in Destiny, I think, would make it way more challenging than in the Division. Because like the specialized skills, the skill system in the Division, I think, plays a lot into how you customize the way that you build your god rolls. Right, because like my optimal role looks nothing like the other people in my Division clan, because I play in a very specific way and there's specific skills that I like to use. And I think that that's when you kind of find a crew where your builds will complement each other. And in Destiny, there's very few pieces of content that really force you to create specific builds within your clan when you go into an activity, so that you can make sure you're this. Oh, I'm going to run my Titan bubble, or I'm going to run, like my well and blah, blah, blah. Like there's only a couple of opportunities I feel like in Destiny where that's like crucial to get right. And in the Division, it's like all of the activities require that.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what it is to look at? Like, I've got in my Destiny vault like weapons that are by no means perfect, but they might have one perk that's decent, and I still want to like maybe try that gun, right? It's got accurized or it's got Vorpal, and I'm like, well, I'll save it because it's almost there. So with this system, and that's where I hope Destiny looks at, is like, imagine you could still just delete the gun and get like one of those perks back or something, because it's not god roll. So why are you saving it? Because
like if you have a 4 out of 5 roll of a shotgun and you save that one that has a 1 out of 5
accurized or something.
Yeah, you swap the accurized to the shotgun or something like that. It would definitely cut down the chase. It'd make that Mindbender's chase way easier.
Yeah. So there really is something there. So we'll see.
Yeah, interesting. Another one from, let's see, Eggplant Volcano says, with the pandemic crisis and Bungie working from home, do you think the September DLC will be delayed? Keep safe, wash hands.
I think, we can't say for sure, but I think if any company is set to ship something from home, I think it's Bungie. They had a really solid plan in place before this even went down, and they put it into practice very, very quickly.
They had a pandemic response team already set up.
They had it all set up. They had all the ways set up for people to work from home. So, people are actively doing meetings all the time at home. Of course, there's some things like animations you probably need to maybe go to work for that, or like making new emotes and stuff like that. You need to capture people's movements, and I doubt people have that in their home. But some people can still go to work.
The living room? Yeah. No?
Yeah, let me just switch over.
So I think they're pretty well equipped. I don't know what the limitations of that working from home is. I'm sure there is some things, but then again, I'm sure there's some people who are probably going to the office if their job requires them to go there and get stuff done. They're just not going to be close to one another. But a lot of people are working from home pretty successfully. So I don't know. Hard to say because I don't know exactly, but I just know that, Bungie put out this entire thing on their website of how they prepared for their company to work from home, which is a really interesting read if anyone wants to read it. They put it out because they were like, I think we did a pretty good job, and if anyone wants to read this and take ideas from it, then that's great. So yeah, I think they were prepared. I think they're going to do a good job.
I'd say out of all companies, seems like Bungie is definitely set up from the outside looking in.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there's rumors of the new console generation getting delayed because of this, what it's going to impact in the world.
It's been the big topic. I think it's too early to say on all this, actually, but...
It is.
Agree.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew, you guys cover everything on what's good, right? And so what's the temperature in the room? And you've worked with so many developers.
We get that question quite a bit, if we actually think that, the delay is going to be real. And the real thing is, like, we don't have an inside look at where the manufacturing pipeline is in China. We know all the parts are coming from there. It does sound like most of the manufacturing plants are like back online in China, which I think is a good thing for the global economy. But what it means specifically for Microsoft and Sony, I mean,
that's
TBD, right? I think like if anybody could pivot, Microsoft is in a better position to do so because of xCloud and where they're
Right.
already kind of set up, that even if they have to delay the physical box, they might be able to roll out something software wise in the original window. But I hope that it stays, because I think if those console launches get pushed, it's going to waterfall a bunch of things for developers and retail in a really negative way, and I don't think anybody wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think it's definitely a good question. It's so early to say, it's like maybe a similar question, but different, as people are like, which one should I get? What consoles? Which one are you rooting for? I'm like, I don't know what games are even coming to these yet. Like,
Which
we
console
need
is your
more
passion?
info on.
Which
Right?
one do you
Yeah.
identify with, huh?
Yeah. But it's like, what game am I now worried about they won't be able to finish it on time for the hardware because of this pandemic? I'm like, I don't know. It's too early. But I'm certainly worried. There's no doubt about it. But I just, I want to be able to go to the store without worrying about it. So let's get
Yes.
past that. And then it's a good question, though.
For sure.
By the way, Dreadnought asked about the dinosaurs. I didn't give Dreadnought credit. So
Nice.
with that out of the way.
Let's see. I haven't actually fully read this question yet, so I'm not sure.
Okay, so
Oh,
maybe
boy.
it's terrible.
Read
Timothy
it
Rapp.
slowly.
Timothy
Read
Rapp
it
says,
slowly.
with Trials token farming being a hot topic, what would you think of a system where you didn't get the tokens you earned until you completed a card, 7 wins or a loss? This might de-incentivize farming the first 3 games before resetting the card, since you get no tokens.
So you'd have to tank a game to get him, is what that is also saying. If you wanted to get him in 3,
I think that's
you'd
what
have to
people would do,
lose.
right? They would just tank
So
a
there,
game.
yeah, if it had to be, say if you could complete a card and that meant either getting to 7 wins or getting to 3 losses, wouldn't people then just do 3 wins and then just lose 3 times and then
They'd go to
Yeah.
orbit 3 times?
yeah, just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
That'd be a loss.
That would put some wins on the table, though. So that is an interesting thought.
You're
is they'd be
right.
given some free
But
wins.
like, go with me on a little hypothetical situation here.
Okay.
What if we just got rid of tokens altogether?
So it's just drops. Like you might get a shotgun.
Yeah, like
Why
this is just
not?
dropped from the matches, right?
Like in D1?
That's a crazy concept.
Yeah, I would personally like that, if you could do bounties and the bounties rewarded different things each week instead of it being like this token pool, and you could go and like, oh, their shotgun is on this bounty this
The
week.
scout
I'm gonna
bounty.
Go into Charles and do the bounty
The scout bounty. Oh,
Being
Jesus.
sarcastic, Watts, but
instead
like
instead of doing the bounty and getting
Can you
tokens.
imagine a scout bounty on Anomaly?
get the shotgun though. That would be the best.
The one
It
thing
would
this
make
is
no
good
sense.
for is, so I made a Titan specifically for trials because I was like, I want to get the loot from the chest, right? Because I want to get as much as I possibly can and have as many opportunities as possible. It does make it to where I can just play my hunter. So that's one positive about it. I can
True.
just play my hunter.
Yeah,
Because it's a set loot pool every week.
I think.
I kind of agree with the base of what Andrew said though. Just like I
Yeah.
always like that sudden drop in the middle of a match. Like what? I always
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
system.
I
love
completely
that.
agree. Having to go to Saint 14, he's a cool guy. Out of all the NPCs, the coolest.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
my friend.
cool seeing his pigeons and all that. And Geppetto, right? Isn't one of them named Geppetto or something like that?
Is one of the pigeons named Geppetto, or did you
So
just
in the
make
middle,
that
no,
up?
I'm dead serious. So in trials, if you pick up
This is
heavy,
Geppetto. Have you
I
met
have
him?
no
Is there like a
this
whole...
is crazy, but I heard this when I was playing trials, and if you pick up heavy, he goes, Geppetto, record that. I was like,
No, he doesn't.
what?
He does.
Geppetto.
It's great.
Yeah,
It's
like
really
Pinocchio,
great.
you know? Oh, it's his ghost.
Okay.
My bad, of course.
it's his
Somebody had said
ghost.
that in chat before, and I forget.
All right.
But yeah,
interesting,
they
though. I
just need
didn't
the gun to drop, as opposed to farming for tokens. Tokens
Yeah.
are dumb. I don't like
Yeah, it's
them.
an interesting scenario because, like in Destiny 1, you would get, say, the gun would drop on 3 or whatever, right? And then what? It's just in your loot pool, and then it's just RNG?
I'd say it's a chance
Like,
to
I guess
drop every
that's-
time you win a game or something. Or not every time you win,
Yeah.
but like every time you play. So
Right.
then you could technically
Yeah,
go
no,
flawless.
definitely.
As
I would
opposed
prefer
to
that.
resetting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what
and
if?
then maybe like they can build your probability for getting a drop the more wins in a row you have. So like if you get to the end of the card, like your odds of getting the drop are higher.
Yes.
That's what I was
I
going to
like
say.
that.
I was
Need
going
to
to say
incentivize
exactly.
people getting higher in the card, right? And playing for longer and going for the wins.
Yeah.
And if you go flawless, it's really high from the chest that week. Maybe the shotgun's dropping this week from the chest at a really high rate with, even better, even there's perks that the crap perks won't even be in the set. So you have a really good chance of getting a good shotgun.
Well,
You know what I
maybe-
mean?
Well,
Like,
see,
wouldn't that
this
be-
is where the
Now you're
curated
asking
roles
for
for
too much,
weapons came in. But that's what curated weapons were,
Yeah,
right?
or
Like you could
curated.
play to get a curated weapon, and they did pretty good job with picking some perks. Some perks were not like the most optimal for that weapon, but some were like really good for that weapon. So if they had curated roles for a shotgun and it was quick draw opening shot, and people could go to the chest and get that.
They're not gonna do
Well, that's
that.
almost godlike.
Yeah,
But what
that's a guarantee.
But what about curated plus a better loot pool at the end? Oh, that would be cool. Then you really have a reason. To
Actually, I mean, they already have the system in there. The confidence card. You'd roll the confidence card. You go flawless. You're guaranteed all the drops for that week. If you don't drop a game. I mean, yeah, the rich get richer in that scenario, but like, I think it's better than having
after
people.
you
Currently
win.
the richer staying in 1 to 3
Yeah.
and stopping.
Yeah,
Wait,
it's-
though, what would drop each match on 10 and 11? And are you saying
No, I'm saying
anything
once
from your
if you
loot pool?
do a confidence card where you don't have a boon or a mercy, you have to win 7 in a row to go flawless. Then on that flawless win, like the second time around, it would guarantee 3 drops for that week, whatever the drops are.
Oh, it'd give you all the guarantee. I see. But if
So
you want to
it's-
farm a shotgun, though, you still like how does it solve that versus tokens? You know?
Because you get
I
the
do like-
shotgun in that drop.
Yeah, but it wouldn't be a perfect roll necessarily, would it? Or are you saying it would
No, it would not be a perfect roll.
Yeah.
You'd still have to farm it, which would keep people
you
in the
just gotta
playlist to keep going flawless with confidence. Confidence, whatever it's called, passage.
be? Yeah.
I don't know.
you go
I still
flawless a
like
lot,
the
so-
system from D1, honestly. I mean, with D1, I know they had that other armor set that dropped while you were playing. You didn't have to go flawless to get that armor. They had a whole different armor set, which, was kind of just basic looking armor with like a eyeball logo on it. So an Osiris logo on it, which, it was good. You could get something, but I like the old system of you play, something drops randomly. Like, what did you get? Oh, I got this. And you could also do bounties to get some of the weapons, but of course they didn't have the adept perks on them, which we don't have from going flawless right now. So it was a really nice way of including everyone, because yes, you could get that gun, but it's not going to be the one with adept on it. So it's not going to be the best one. It's going to be yellow instead of being black and gold. And yes, I liked that system. Bounties for people to be able to complete and get stuff.
Yeah.
Stuff dropping from the end of the game, and important special things from the flawless chest.
Yeah, the lack of
Kinda had it
important
all.
flawless loot was, I think, a big oversight. And it's funny, we called it too. We're like, well, we'll bitch and moan about it if they didn't do that, but pretty sure they're gonna have flawless loot that's important in there. They didn't.
They did it. Looks to the other monitor.
Trying to find another question. We should probably do like 1 or 2 more and then call it, wrap it up.
Yeah.
We could do one from Merc Gamer saying, I may not believe in pineapples on pizza, but can you all agree anchovies on pizza is a crime? First of all, how do you feel about pineapple on pizza, Andrew?
Oh gosh.
Oh, I am widely known as a pineapple on pizza advocate.
Perfect.
Yes.
So is Watts.
Yes.
This
oh,
is
you
great.
too, Teft?
All of us.
'Cause I have
all of
taste buds.
DCP.
It's not that I won't eat it and I won't condemn it. I just argued last week. I
Just
think
it's
this came out because
delicious.
last week I was like, "There's so many better pizza combinations, and why are you like? Why is everybody talking
No,
about
it's
pineapple?"
the best.
There's
Pineapple
tons of
is
different rolls of
amazing.
sushi. Doesn't mean I want to have every single roll every time.
Exactly. It's just all about diversifying your flavor profile.
Yeah.
You can't have
No, but then-
pepperoni every single time. It
Oh,
gets
Boring.
I'm huge on that too. I think the people who are ordering pepperoni and cheese every time should not be doing that. So I feel almost as passionately about those people. I can let it slide though, but anyway, so many
my
good.
philosophy on pizza is let people enjoy what kind of pizza they want to enjoy. Like
True.
the hate
That's why I said I'm not
brand
condemning.
pineapple on pizza lovers is just uncalled for.
So
Okay.
I'm not condemning, but you
Listen.
should get spicy Italian sausage with giardiniera, mushrooms, and some extra sauce on the side.
That
Fran-
sounds delicious. Fran, let's go.
Fran,
Good.
are you a culinary gatekeeper?
A culinary gatekeeper. The whole like certain people can't get through if that is that it?
Whoa, you and your freaking weird choices of food.
Yeah. No, again, I don't condemn. I'm with you on that. You can enjoy whatever you want, man. But just, I'm saying, try other stuff. Anyway,
But how do you feel about anchovies?
absolutely not.
Yeah. So the thing for me, yeah, I didn't grow up eating like lots of fish, and I'm very specific about anything that has a fishy flavor to it. But I completely get it though if you're into those flavors. Again, it's a part of a flavor profile. You might have grew up with it. That's like reminds you of
smell
home.
it right now. It's so potent, man. You get an anchovy pizza.
Thunderbolt in the chat says pineapple ham jalapeno. That's
Delicious.
perfect.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I want
I
that
do.
right now.
But wait, so is anybody for anchovies on pizza on this cast? Like,
No,
again,
not
we're not condemning, but
Not
Wait.
gatekeeping your anchovy pizza, but Fran hates you. Okay, next question.
it smells so bad.
Fran is casting some serious judgment.
He is judging. Very much so.
All right.
One more question. Let's see.
Yeah, let's do one more.
That's pressure.
Mohican, I didn't read this, so we'll say.
Okay.
Mohican 9 says, if I go out and get fast food for the family, am I entitled to eat fries out of the bag and still get the box with the most fries?
Because he went and
Andrew said
went
yes.
to go on by himself to
He
get the
has
food for the family.
Gone out,
He has gone out. No one else has.
foraged, collected, braved
So you
the
earned them.
Yeah, he braved the elements
Especially right now.
to go and collect the delicious French fries.
I mean, without question, of course.
I feel like you've
Also,
done this.
who's
You
gonna
answered this
stop
so
you?
fast, Andrea. Yeah.
That's a good
You
point.
totally just
Will they
do it,
even
yeah.
know that you ate the fries out the bag?
Exactly.
So that's what I was gonna say. It's like I'm totally against this concept. That's not fair. But you should do it, and then like it shouldn't even be a topic. Like nobody has to know. You should be like, no, I don't know. You didn't get as many.
You just order another one, right?
But then you use the defense you just brought up. You're like, well, I ran out and got them. It's not my fault. Maybe you go next time. Even though
If
I
you
ate
want the
half of
extra
them out of the
fries,
bottom of the bag.
you go get the food.
Don't you
Yep.
don't you order some road fries?
Road fries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
extra.
like a second
Oh,
order, like
yes.
a small fry
Yeah.
to eat on the road, and then you order your regular
100%.
fry for when you get home.
Yeah, it's not like you're going there to be like, oh, I'm going to get this food for later that I'm going to eat. No, you're going there because you're hungry. You want to eat it like
Yeah.
right now. And if you got to drive
That's
it
true.
home, you're going to
The
want to be
torture
snacking.
of having the fries in the bag and not eating some. Like, no, it's
You
like
have
Yeah.
to eat some.
why?
Yes. So you might as well buy another fry for the road.
Set
road
road
fries.
fries.
Yeah,
Just eliminate the fry controversy before it starts.
exactly.
True.
You're being diplomatic about it.
Making me hungry.
All right, that's the show.
Man,
All
we did it.
right.
Done. All right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Andrea.
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much for
Fun
being on the
having
show.
Andrea.
Where can people find you on the internet?
Well, I am part of this podcast, What's Good Games. We started a brand new live show every Monday at 11 a.m. Pacific time here on Twitch at twitch.tv/What's Good Games. Britt and I do kind of a smaller version of our weekly show because our weekly show, much like DCP, gets pretty long sometimes. But you can find our podcast on any place that you listen to DCP, and you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/What's Good Games. And yeah, it's great. We talk about video games, all kinds of video games, not just Destiny.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's great. Brittany and Steimer co-host that show with me. And if you want to keep up with what I'm doing specifically, at Andrea Rene on Twitter is the easiest way. It's where I link everything that I'm doing and everything I'm working on. So
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Cool. Fran?
You can find me right here on Twitch as well at FM3_. I've been playing, in addition to Destiny, a lot of Warzone. I'm going to be playing a lot of Borderlands, and I cannot wait to try the new Control expansion.
Nice.
And eventually Doom. I heard you did Nightmare Mode, Teft.
I did, yeah. I finished it last night. It was
Good?
amazing.
Should I do it?
If you want to get good,
Nightmare?
you have to get good.
Do you think it's tough, huh? It's tough.
Oh yeah, it's definitely tough. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to use everything in your arsenal.
That was not the thumbs up that I was looking for.
Fran's like, please no.
Well, I mean,
Like, is it
tests
worth
you.
it?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, no game have I thought like the actual canon of the character would be the hardest difficulty, but I actually feel like Doom guy, the Doom Slayer, would be playing on Ultra Nightmare, the one life mode. You know, like I feel like that's canon. I'm not gonna do that. That's like, whew, my God, I died a lot in it. Yeah, exactly. You know, you got to be on
Can you
some sort
change
of.
it?
I don't know.
Once you start, that's it.
I'm not sure actually. I just played on
Good that
like
you don't know. It was a test.
I think I remember someone tweeting about dropping it down and apologizing for it. So I think you
Yikes.
can.
Okay. I'm always for that though. If games are,
if you suck enough, it will be like, hey, do you want this Sentinel armor? Be like, stop offering the Sentinel armor, damn it! I'm gonna get this. So yeah,
Okay. But I'm gonna check that out too. Anyway, sorry to
nice.
tangent.
Watts.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts.
And I am Tefty Teft. You can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. Definitely looking forward to Trials, but I'm also looking forward to all the stuff that's coming out here real soon, like Resident Evil 3 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And, and I did just finish Doom Eternal, which was incredible. And yeah, not to say that you need to play it on Nightmare. Like, if you want to just experience the game, totally. Doom Eternal is an amazing FPS. But
baby mode. There ain't no shame in it, okay?
Yeah, experience it
right.
for the sake of experiencing it. If you want the challenge, it's there, and it is definitely more difficult than Doom 2016 on the hard mode, one down from the one life challenge. Like the one life on this new one, whew, yikes. There's some cheese in there that could like get you. But yeah, that's the show. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Really appreciate all the support across the board, whether you're on Twitch here watching live or on YouTube or on Spotify listening on your commute or your commute across the living room if you're in isolation right now. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you next time for another show. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.